Hi friends, it's Amy. Welcome to my bookish life. Today I'm going to check in on my reading from April 13th to the 19th. And I also have some fun goodies to share. So let's get to it. Definitely did not have the week that I had last week. At my last check-in, I had finished 6 books. I was up to 8 books for the month of April. I'm now up to 9, which means I finished 1 book, which I'm not sad about. It is what it is. So the first and only book that I finished this week was Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulet. And this book started out really slow. And at first I was like, oh, this is going to be a bunch of teenage angst and it's going to drive me crazy. Just like if you heard me talking about An Emotion of Great Delight, how much I could not stand the teenage angst that was happening in that book. I just couldn't stand it. But this book, I didn't feel that. The main character's name is Donis, and she is part Native American, part white. Her white family is very influential. The Fontaines, they're a very affluent family. They have a lot of say with what happens in the world, in Michigan, especially politically, things like that. And the firekeeper side, the father side, is actually a really big family in the Ojibwa community. And she has a brother who is 3 months younger than her, if that gives you any kind of indication of how this whole story comes about. Anyway, in the Ojibwa community, where she spends a good portion of her time during the summers, there is quite a rash of meth related activities happening, and she kind of gets embroiled in trying to figure out what is happening in the community that is causing all of this to happen. It very much, in a lot of ways, had cozy mystery vibes written all over it, because we had an amateur sleuth who gets involved in trying to solve the mystery and trying to figure out how to better her community. However, this is not a cozy mystery. It is very much intense. It's very much more intense than a cozy mystery, but it had those kind of vibes where you had an amateur sleuth, if that makes sense. I don't know greatly how to describe the genre of this book. It feels thriller. It's a YA thriller. It's really steeped in Ojibwan culture and traditions. It also has that mystery vibe to it. It also takes place in 2002. So it does have that historical aspect to it as well. So I just really didn't know where to put it. I think I'm going to put it as a mystery thriller. I really got into this book. I really got into it. There were certain points where I was just so enthralled, to the point where I was going to read a different book that I was working on, but I didn't want to stop reading this book. And I kept reading it, and I really just was so in it the entire time. There's a lot of heavy stuff that happens in here. Absolutely look into the trigger warnings. There's assault, there's murder, there's drug use. It is intense. And I had to stop and collect myself at some points, but I was in it the entire time. I really enjoyed the story, and I loved the writing, and I loved how you saw Donis grow and develop and shine in her role as a member of the Ojibwa community, as well as a member of the white side of her family. So I absolutely recommend this book, but please look for those trigger warnings, because there are so many. Now on to the books that I am currently working on. The ones that I mentioned last week that I'm still working on, Museum of Murder by Leslie Langtry, is an e-arc that I have from Gemma Halliday Publications, and it's coming out very soon. So I'm going to finish that this weekend so that I can write my review and just rave about it, because so far I'm really enjoying it. I just was distracted by other books this week, but I am really enjoying it. It's just, I love these characters so much, and I'm loving the callbacks in this one to other books in the series, which the plots of at least 6 other books in the series are ruined with this book. So it's definitely not a place that you want to start. If you're going to look into starting the Mary Wrath mysteries, you're definitely going to want to start it with a different one. And then I'm also working on The Fire, the Water, and Maudie McGinn by Sally J. Pla, and I am loving the character of Maudie. She is a beautiful, beautiful person who is just trying to figure out the world, even though she is dealing with autism and trying to fit in a neurotypical world where she is neurodivergent. And I absolutely love how she is finding ways to fit in where she can still be herself. Her dad is one of the coolest parents in a middle grade book. I absolutely love him and his understanding of his daughter and his way of helping her through panic attacks that she's having, and just helping her understand what's going on in the world around her. Her mother, on the other hand, is one of the worst people in the world, and I can't stand her. This book starts with Maudie going to California to visit her dad for the summer. She lives with her dad in the summers and her mom in Texas during the school year. Some wildfires break out in California, and they're evacuated from their cabin home, and they start living in this like campground type place. And her mother just calls and accosts her father for letting that happen. Like, it's a wildfire, ma'am. There's so much going on, but I'm absolutely loving everything about it. I am very, very much loving this, but it is making me very viscerally angry at certain points. And then the other book that I'm in the middle of is Unsinkable by Jenni L. Walsh. This is my buddy read with Destiny. We started reading this on the 15th, which is the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. I started kind of slow with this again, but I'm starting to get more into it. She's a little bit further than I am. We have dual timelines of Violet Jessup, who is actually a real person, is in the timeline that starts in 1912 at the sinking of the Titanic. And then we have Daphne, who is in a 1940s timeline with the start of World War II. She is working as a spy for the Allies. And I love Violet's story, her storyline, and where it's going and everything that's happening in that storyline. I'm absolutely loving it. I don't know what Violet and Daphne have to do with one another. I think there might just be a very loose connection between these two women, which is a little bit disheartening to me. When a story has 2 timelines, I want there to be a connection between the characters in each of the timelines. And I'm not seeing that with this book, but I'm really enjoying Violet's. And I'm kind of mostly enjoying Daphne's, just not as much as I'm enjoying Violet's, which is a little disappointing, but I'm still enjoying the book. I still like it. I'm still very excited to read it. When I sit down to pick it up, I want to learn more and I want to know what's going on. I really love her style, her writing style, and how she tells a story. Really enjoying all of that. Then I have a couple of exciting things. I have my book of the month box. Page is just a number. Funny. Okay. It is called How to End a Love Story by Yulin Quang. This said Helen Zhang hasn't seen Grant Shepard once in the 13 years since the tragic accident that bound their lives together forever. Now a best-selling author, Helen pours everything into career. She's even scored a coveted spot in the writer's room of the TV adaptation of her young adult novels. And if she can hide her imposter syndrome, surely the rest of her life will fall into place too. LA is the fresh start she needs. After all, no one knows her there except Grant has done everything in his power to move on from the past, including building a life across the country. And while the panic attacks have never quite gone away, he's well liked around town as a screenwriter. I love books that take place on movie sets. I just think they're fascinating because it's a world I will never actually be in real life, and I just think they're really fun. So I thought this sounded so good, and I'm very excited to dig into it at some point. Then, oh my gosh, I have been on Goodreads for, I don't know, a long time. And do you know how many Goodreads giveaways I have signed up for? In that time, 3 pages. You know, you click through the pages when you can click on how many giveaways, at least 3 pages. I have signed up for giveaways, and I've never, ever won until this week. This week, I won a Goodreads giveaway, and I am so excited about it. And even cooler, it said that it was going to take 8 to 10 weeks for the book to get to me, and it got to me already. I won the book Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young, and she is actually the author of Out on a Limb, which really took the internet by storm last summer. Recently, not so much now, but absolutely recently, it's kind of been all over the place. And I didn't realize that this is the second book in a series. The first one is called Next of Kin, and it's actually available on Hoopla. So I'm going to listen to that before I dig into this, because I like reading books in order, you know? And I didn't realize that it was the second book in the series when I put it on my list. But it just looks so cute. It's a cute little rom-com. Lane is in the middle of an identity crisis. Her friends are all partnered up. Her career is headed nowhere. And simply put, she's not happy. So after a night out celebrating her birthday, she makes an impulsive purchase, a giant 48-passenger yellow school bus that she intends to make her home. I just think it's so fun. It just sounds so fun. I really can't wait to dig into it. I feel like she's kind of a spicy writer, and I think going into it, as long as I know that I'm going to be good with that, and I'm just really excited to have actually won a Goodreads giveaway. How often does that happen? I mean, a lot, honestly, for a lot of people, but not for me. And so I'm very excited about this. So I wanted to share with everybody that it has happened. I have won a Goodreads giveaway. It's like an actual thing. So that's really cool. That's all I have to share with you today. Let me know your thoughts on any of these books that I've talked about. I would love to hear from you down in the comments. I'd love to know if you also got How to End a Love Story for Book of the Month. And I'm really curious to know if you have ever won a Goodreads giveaway or a giveaway. I think Storygraph does giveaways as well. So I'd love to know if you've ever won a giveaway from one of those like book recording platforms. I am just so curious. I'd love to hear from you again down in the comments. I love chatting with you down there. Commenting, liking, subscribing really help my channel grow, and I so appreciate you doing that. I hope you're finding something wonderful to read, and until next time, happy reading. Bye!